It sometimes seems like I don't have feeling desires. I have should desires or desires because of the contrast, but it doesn't seem to be authentic.
Well, here's the thing. Something's going on in life, so you know what you don't want. You're launching a desire, but it's not a desire that you could necessarily articulate, and it's certainly not a desire that has enough momentum that you could recognize it. So as you're launching those desires all day, those desires are gaining momentum. A good description is like it's a gestation period. While those desires are growing, they're becoming more powerful. Law of attraction is bringing cooperative components to them. But if you're not going along for the ride, then your desires are becoming vibrationally different than you are. So you become almost less capable of seeing them or recognizing them. That's why we're encouraging naps. It's why we're encouraging meditation. It's why we're encouraging as much positive distraction as you can find, because you may very well accidentally stumble into the receiving mode if you're not working so hard on beating the drum of trying to fix things. And so as you find yourself in that receiving mode and then something wonderful occurs to you, that's your awareness that at least for that moment you're in the receiving mode. Otherwise the idea couldn't come. So if you're saying, well, that doesn't happen very often, what we just explained is the reason for it. But more and more, especially now we've had this conversation, it will happen. You will feel your conscious awareness of that. And then as you acknowledge, and this is something that we would like you all to acknowledge, once a desire has occurred to you and you feel that exhilaration of, ooh, I would like that, you're well along the way to receiving more and more impulses about it to bring it about, you see. It's just a matter, and a lot of people do this. I know what I don't want, I know what I do want. I would so like to have more money, but I don't have enough. And more money would feel good to me, but it's been hard for a long time, and I hardly know anybody that does. And the more you beat the drum of where you are, the more you disallow yourself to be a match to what is gestating and growing in this vortex. It really is that simple. So you have to find some way of hooking in to something that feels good. You don't have to feel good about money, and you don't have to feel good about health, and you don't have to feel good about Democrats or Republicans. You don't have to feel good about anything specific, but you can't feel bad and let the things that you want come to you. So while we say find one thing that feels good and use it as your reason for being in the receptive mode where all problems will then be solved, most people instead find the one thing, even though there may be many, that make them feel uncomfortable, and they use that as their excuse to deprive themselves from the receptive mode, and then not being in the receptive mode becomes the big problem, you see. It always is. We don't know of anything that anyone wants. A pile of money, a material object, a relationship, a circumstance, an event, everything that you want is because you believe you would feel better in the having of it. And yet it's a little ironic that so many things that humans think about keep them from being in the place where they can receive the path or the ideas to what they are wanting. And so we don't know another way to say it other than you have to care about feeling good enough that you find thoughts that feel good. It is that simple. That is the key to living happily ever after that you're looking for. Just find some reason to feel good. And if you can't find a reason to feel good, then take a nap. And when you wake up, look for a reason to feel good. And if you can't find a reason to feel good, take another nap. And when you wake up, look for a reason to feel good. And if you can't find a reason to feel good, take another nap. And pretty soon, within a year or so, when you wake up, you'll find something that is easy to feel good about. And as you begin fixating on that so that you're feeling good more of the time, then it sort of breaks loose. Sometimes people said, and some of you have experienced it, when you first begin hearing us or something like this, where you're understanding that your thoughts matter, and so you are more deliberately directing your thoughts to better feeling things, then avalanches of things that you've been wanting for a while begin to flow into your experience. Did you have that experience in the beginning? Where just for a little while you believed in your ability of positive focus, and you focused positively, and things did turn around for you at first. And then, after a while, it's not as evident. And we say it's like pulling a rubber band back. When you let go of it, it's going to go pretty far. It's like putting a lot of things in your vortex and then chilling out, and a lot of things are ripe and ready to receive, you see. But you didn't come just to want and then receive, and then want and then receive, and then want and then receive. You didn't come to say, I want $1 million, boom, there it is. You didn't come to say, I want a relationship. Oh, hello, I've been waiting for you for a second. Yeah. You came because you knew that life would help you choose for yourself, and then you wanted the exhilaration of toning yourself or tuning yourself to the frequency that would allow the cooperation of the universe to yield it to you in this incremental, delicious dance all along the way. You say things, most of you don't mean it, that the joy is in the journey, but the joy really is in the journey, because there's never going to be an ending to what you are desiring, you see. So when you get on the other side of this just a little bit, and you begin to notice that you can set an intention and to watch how quickly the universe will yield to you the things that you're wanting, it is a wonderful thing to see. Simple things, not big world-changing things, although those are your capabilities as well, but just these everyday things that just make things go better for you. Esther and her friend got off the airport in Minneapolis to change planes, and they were at A gate, and their departing gate was at F gate. And Esther just had a feeling when she saw F gate is probably far. F probably means far, far, far away. It's just the impulse that she had when she realized that. And so she looked around, and there was an airport employee sitting on one of those motorized carts. And Esther looked at him, and he looked at her, and Esther looked at him, and he looked at her. In other words, Esther knew she wanted him. She really wanted him, and he knew Esther really wanted her. And he smiled at her, and she says, "Is F gate far?" And he said, "Yes, get on. Get on." And they rode and rode and rode down this way and over there and down there. And Esther saw miles and miles of people dragging their bags through the airport. Miles and miles. It seemed like they rode on that cart for 10 minutes. Esther was the horn. Beep, 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 beep. People had to get out of the way. It's a long way. It's a long way. But the universe yields. The universe yields to you what you want and what you need, when you want it and when you need it. It's just a never-ending stream of those wonderful opportunities for you. And even with Esther, often you miss the opportunity for something wonderful to happen because you're fixated on something not wonderful that's happening. And that's the key. You got to not notice the things that aren't so good and give your undivided attention to things that are so good, so that you're tuning yourself to the receptive mode of more good things. And then often make a list of the wonderful things in your life. Make lists of positive aspects. Tune yourself to what is working. There's so much that is. But your very thoughtful mind, you're a very focused person. You are an objective, reasonable person too. You've trained yourself to be that way. So you've trained yourself deliberately to weigh the pros and the cons and the pluses and the minuses. And of course, that's all part of decision making. But humans, we love you so much. You're so stuck in step one. It's time for you to let go of the cons and the minuses and give all of your attention to the pluses and the pros. Give all of your attention to the things that feel good, and then watch how the slightest tweaking of your vibration can tip the balance on the fulcrum, and wonderful things will become predominantly obvious to you. New things.
One quick follow-up about good feeling thoughts. At times when I have a negative feeling thought, and I say, Esther says, reach for a good feeling thought. I don't know how to do that or exactly what that is.
Well, sometimes you can't find one. Esther started these days, since this driving analogy, to say to herself, rumble strip, because what picture that paints in her mind is, here's a rumble strip, and right now it's easy to just get back in my lane. But if I don't, then rumble strip and all four wheels are on the other side, and then off we go in conversation and da 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 until she suffocated herself right out of alignment, you see. And so it's being sensitive at the early subtle stages. The sooner you realize you have negative emotion, the sooner that you can do something about it. But really, while we've been teaching that and things like that for a very long time, because we know that you can do a much better job than you are doing as the focusing being that you all are, that you could focus yourself in a more positive way, we also know that law of attraction is going to give you more stuff that's like what you're thinking about than the other. So it's logical that you would go down that negative trail for a little while until you either sleep or something happens to help you to make a stronger decision. So the key, really, the easier key is to get out ahead of it. So you wake up and you don't feel bad. That's the time to start thinking the good thoughts and getting the momentum going on them, you see. So just wake up every morning with that intention and then watch what happens with that.
Sometimes I wake up with the effect of negative, bad dreams. Is that an indication that my mind is just continuing?
It's an indication of where your momentum has been.
Okay.
That's all. It's not an indication of where your thoughts must be, but it's an indication of where your momentum has been. And so just say to yourself, well, I'm changing that gradually. Say nice things to yourself, all in good time. And I'm getting the hang of this, and I have an understanding of how it works, and I'm not excellent at applying it, but at least I understand the basics of it, and I'm getting better and better at it, and my life's pretty good in this way and this way and this way and this way, and I don't have to solve all these problems at once, and most of the things I worry about are not even my problem to solve anyway. And life is going along well for me, and look how well I'm living, and I'm happy about what I know, and I'm glad to know this, and I'm glad to know what negative emotion means, and at least I can do something about it. And sometimes it's easier to do something about it than others, and sometimes it's just harder, and sometimes if there's a lot of momentum going, I just give in to the negative momentum. Why fight it? Here's something that we've been saying to Esther recently, and this is a really important thing. Law of attraction is the one who is responsible for the harmony. So if you've got some negative thoughts going on, law of attraction will bring you more thoughts that harmonize with those negative thoughts. Just like law of attraction will bring you more thoughts that harmonize with your positive thoughts. It's not your job to make yourself right with everything that exists. You can't. There are all kinds of people with all kinds of different intentions that you don't want to ever harmonize with. And this was something that was a big misunderstanding for Esther, because she thought that what we were teaching was that she was supposed to take someone that she couldn't find any vibrational alignment with and do enough focus wheels that she accomplished vibrational alignment. Even though we've been telling her for a very long time, her and the rest of you, that when you find alignment with who you are, one of two things will happen. Either the person or the situation that is the problem will acquiesce to what you are wanting, or they will vibrate right out of your experience. In no case did we say that it is hers or your job to find harmony with things that are not harmonious, you see. So we want you to just give yourself a break, but we also want you to stop beating up on yourself with unharmonious thoughts, because there's no point in torturing yourself with things that just don't feel good. And as you care about the way you feel, then it becomes easier and easier. Someone earlier was talking about being a problem solver, and you are too, a problem solver. But problem solvers who are light on the touch of the problem are really good problem solvers. Problem solvers who dig into the problem and scrutinize the problem, you're not good problem solvers, you're problem promoters. You see. So give the problem a light touch and then stand back and wait for the solution to dawn on you at times when you're not thinking about the problem. Helpful.
Helpful. Thank you so
really
much.
Good.